All right, what is up, guys? So I'm doing two YouTube videos back to back, which must mean that I am incredibly bored. My girlfriend left me for the weekend, so here I am, looking at charts like a pleb on a Saturday. So yeah, there's that. But I mostly just wanted to go over some random thoughts, mostly in reference to the market overall, but also where we're at today. But also just kind of encompassing everything that I apply in my own system. So if you saw my tweets the other day, I said something on the lines of like, people love to remind you that the market doesn't move in a straight line. But when I look at this, it's very much a straight line, right? And when I look at this price action, it's very much a straight line. And same thing here, it's very much a straight line. And same thing here, it's for the most part a straight line. And same thing here, right? It's pretty much a straight line. You can get rid of this price action and you see Bitcoin, right? You see all the ebbs and flows of Bitcoin. I would imagine most of you are mentally ill, like myself, and you can kind of visualize the Bitcoin chart just by closing your eyes, right? So you understand that you are here for extreme kinds of movements, right? Parabolic kind of trends. And the irony is that we're all here for the exact same reason because we see the potential, whether you're here for the tech or because you understand that this is a innovative kind of space and it's relatively small compared to other financial sectors, especially pertaining to markets. Um, and there's potentially exponential growth, right? So extreme kinds of trends, and it's really, in my opinion, crypto is the greatest visualization of human greed and human fear, and I think it does an incredible job of portraying those two emotions, um, right, to pretty great extent. And we kind of just showed that with those lines, right? You get these kinds of rallies over the course of many months, right, and then 4 or 5 months you have massive kind of drawdowns. Just the same, that's 100% move. All the same, that's negative 75% in a year, right? And then so far so good, 80% plus, whatever it is, right? I don't even know. Um, from where I flip bullish, right? 60% from the bottom, maybe 70 or 80, right? 80. So extreme kinds of rallies. And it really is, you just want to be able to put yourself in a position to take advantage of those kinds of a trend, of trends, and just milk as much as you possibly can. You're really not here for the technicalities and for the little divots and micro moves in between, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5%. That stuff is really minuscule in the in the greater scheme of things when we're talking about crypto. When you're talking about the finance world or TradFi, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5% is what these big hedge funds are aiming to get yearly, right? They aim to get you 6, 7%, on that investment fund. In crypto, it's like 6, 7%. That's maybe a day's movement, right? A day's volatile range for something like BTC or ETH. Then you go to altcoins, which are all higher beta assets and higher beta reflections of Bitcoin, right? Or of ETH, typically, generally speaking, right? And those altcoins move 10, 20, 30% in a day, and it's very casual, right? Your job is to catch as much of that trend as possible. It's not to sit here and overcomplicate it. And I'm going to do you a solid and tell you that, oh my gosh, right? Because someone's going to say, oh my gosh, it's not that simple. Yeah, you just pointed out a straight line on the weekly chart. That's a straight line in the course of a year. But when you zoom in, this is a 40% rally or whatever, right? It's a massive move. This is a 30% bounce, right? This is a negative 50% drop, right? Someone's going to point that out. And you're right. You're absolutely right. It's not just that simple as, okay, well, here's the top. We're heading to the top right corner. Oh, look at that. We're not heading to the top right corner anymore. Just stay away from the market and buy 17K and then know that that's the start of a bigger echo bubble or a bull market or whatever it may be, right? A much bigger rally that you probably want to be positioned for, right? It's not that easy. Actually, I out traded that dude. I out traded the guy who sold the exact Pico top and came back and bought the exact bottom. And when I say that guy, I mean a different alternate version of myself, right? The best trade that I had in 2022 was this right here, right? Where BTC was testing a support level, testing like a range low kind of thing, and then bouncing extreme kinds of trends, forming a higher time frame market structure. When you zoom in, 4 hour 200s, I'm sorry, 4 hour market structure, things like of that nature, things like Solana and Ethereum, and I don't even know all these different altcoins. I think Dot at the time was another big play for me, right? These altcoins, 50% rallies in a month, not even, right? That was the greatest trades in that entire year for me, was this move right here, right? So I did not just perform to my own standard. I did not just, sell the top and walk away and come back and buy 17K, right? Which is all public info. It's all the same discretion that I've been applying for the entire year prior and the year prior to that and the year prior to that, right? I didn't just perform to that degree. I outperformed. I was able to catch the micro, right? And not necessarily micro, but when we talk about an extreme kind of trend, like a year long downtrend of straight line, right? Vertically downwards, when you talk about that, right, I outperformed that because I'm catching the more micro kind of moves, which are still massive moves. That's a 20% rally on Bitcoin alone, right? Ethereum did 60% in this 1 month of uptrend where we broke out of a key range, right? And reclaimed 4 hour 200 moving averages. 60% in 1 month. All you had to do was take a little Timmy kind of approach and say, yep, even a 4-year-old knows that this is heading to the top right corner, right? Here's how I'm able to justify that. 4 hour 200s, market structure. Here's this stupid little arbitrary gray box that I have drawn. Oh, look at that. What do you know? Maybe this time's different because those are all things that we haven't done since here. Okay, cool. Yeah, maybe I want to be bullish. That's it, right? And it's really it's honestly oversimplified because the analysis part is fucking easy. It really is. It's so trivial in comparison. And it sounds corny as hell, but the truth is the execution is where you fuck up, right? The analysis part really is easy. And I'm not trying to say that to bash anybody. I want to say that to emphasize the point of even a 4-year-old at any given time understands what the trend is and what the favorable outcome, therefore, is, right? Why? Why is that the favorable outcome? If we're able to assess the trend, why is that the favorable outcome? By just assessing the trend, okay, we're going up. So the favorable outcome is we're probably just going to continue going up. Why? Because you're here for human greed. You are here because this sector of finance, right, portrays human greed the most effectively, with the most clarity and the most extremity, and therefore the most potential to capitalize on that greed and be able to preserve capital to extreme extents during massive, right, portrayals of fear. That's what you're here for, right? It's quite literally what you're here for. It all kind of just works within itself, and allows you to be able to trade trends, and that in itself is a superpower. It really is. Bruce Lee has a quote, something along the lines of like, "A punch is just a punch, a kick is just a kick." Uh, or before I studied the art, a punch was just a punch, a kick was just a kick, and then after I started to learn the art, a punch was more than a punch, and a kick was more than a kick, and then after I understood the art, a punch was just a punch, and a kick was just a kick. And if you couldn't follow through with all those punches and kicks, right, and it hurts your brain because you're puny brained like like I am. It's basically just saying, he goes on to say, the expression of like simplicity is truly the height of everything. It's really the greatest that you can achieve is just a beautiful expression of simplicity, A punch is just a punch, and a kick is just a kick. And when I first started trading, what, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, the first thing that other traders told me was always trade the trend. Always trade the trend, always trade the trend, trade the trend, trade the trend, trade the trend, right? But then it's like, how do I trade the trend? I don't know how to trade the trend. How do I even assess what the trend is? And for that, I have tons of videos, right? Market structure, how to use moving averages and discretion along with them, as you know, as far as my system goes and applying my own discretion, how I use moving averages, because the honest truth is, if you're just using moving averages, if you're just taking on the little Timmy 4 year old analysis of, oh, we're going up, oh, we're going down, even a 4 year old knows that, it's not enough, right? It's too simplistic. And the way that I discuss it in previous videos as well, and I would really recommend that people go and watch that stuff. I've, a ton of playlists. But the way that I discuss it is, when you look at the market and you look at price action, you see one cog turning, right? You see one cog. You see price action. You can neglect the moving averages. You can neglect all the gray boxes, right? Just look at price action. You just see one box or one cog turning. That's it. The actuality and the reality of it is that there's a million cogs turning. There are a million cogs turning. There's a million different traders trading this market. There are a million different algorithms, right, botting the market. There are thousands of different hedge funds with thousands of different strategies all being applied all at the same time. There are an infinite amount of variables affecting the market that have nothing to do with the market, right? Something like the economy or politics or right, geopolitics or government relations or right. I mean, just recently the U.S. government seized and sold Bitcoin and dumped it on our heads. That affects the market, right? Absolutely. There are a million cogs turning. You have to aim to see three cogs turning. It's impossible to assess each and every single individual cog of those millions of cogs turning. You cannot fathom every single cog individually and assess how is it turning, which direction is it turning in, how fast is it turning. It's just impossible. You're going to enter this state of information overload where you know too much, to the point where you're able and willing to make the argument for either side, so much to the point where you don't do anything, right? And if you don't do anything in markets, then you cannot win. It is quite literally impossible. You have to take some form of action in order to be rewarded, but also in order to lose, right? So if you do nothing, you just lose. You just miss out. You're just another 9 to 5 worker who has nothing to do with markets, doesn't even know what a risk asset is, what the hell is a blue chip, right? None of that stuff. Hold on while I take this toy away from my puppy. All right, yeah, my bad. I should have taken away from her before I started doing this video. Again, this is really just a rambling of my thoughts. It's not even more of like a structured video, but it's just to say that randomly, arbitrarily on a weekend, trend trading truly is a superpower. And before this year started, I forecasted that most people's downfall would be over trading. And if you look at this price action, in actuality, there's really only 3 moves that you need to catch. That's it. Since the start of the year, there's only 3 moves that encompass this 60% rally from where strength is shown, and 80% if you had the crystal ball and you knew that somehow 15.6K was a bottom. I did not, right? I had to wait for strength. I had to wait for structure. I had to wait for reclaims of a blue and a green line, 200 MA, 200 EMA. I had to wait for, right, all of that. And then my discretion being applied with my system to identify strength and then position from there. This is one move upwards, right? And for the bulk of this move, it's really just this. This is the one retest of a higher time frame trend, the 4-hour 200 moving averages, which again are alpha, but if you're using them with no discretion, then you're getting absolutely chopped the hell up during a period like that, right? Whereas previously, If someone coded an algorithm along the 4 hour 200s, you would think that that person that coded that algorithm is an absolute boss, right? And they are just fucking alpha, and you need to pay them $2,000 for a lifetime subscription for that algorithm, right? And then it catches this rally towards the upside that's only 15%. But damn, is that a clean trend, right? And then again, ETH did 60%, 60% during that exact same time period, right? You lose the trend, and oh look, that's another downtrend, and right back into the range, and we keep going lower and lower and lower. Except this time it doesn't work, so you have to use your own discretion. So at least from my standpoint, I was able to say we reclaimed something like 4 hour 200s. I truly didn't even acknowledge it at that point, because to me all that meant was from this region to this region, right? I can expect level to level, and that's it. And if you really draw that out, it's a 2% move. So it's like, do I really care about 2%? No, because I didn't care about this 2% for the 3 weeks that we were trading in that range. I didn't really give too much of a shit about this 2%, right? I don't care about 2%. That's not what I'm here for. Again, I want to catch bulky moves. I want to catch extreme kinds of trends, right? So the analysis was, okay, we're showing strength, but it's not enough for me to really care. And then it starts to ramp up. And suddenly that snowball compounds onto itself. And you don't just have a test of your range highs, right? This range I'm referring to. You don't just have a test of the range highs or a reclaim of that 2 week long range high and a reclaim of the 4 hour 200s. Then you also have a breakout of this range high or this range resistance, right? And then you have a culmination of market structure, meaning like this is a high that's a higher low technically, and this is a higher high. So if you draw that out on the chart, oh look, that's an uptrend, right? So we can identify that that's an uptrend, and the next relevant resistance level that I had for the third part of my 3-part system, right? Unless we're in price discovery, is gray boxes. So, meaning, what is the next relevant level to me? And it's like, okay, well, the next relevant level is 18.6. I'm identifying strength here. I already acknowledged it on a smaller scale here, right? But this is where it really starts to matter, because now we don't just have a 2% move, we have about a 7% move. Do I want to catch a 7% move? Yeah, actually, yeah. Because you know what follows that? Maybe if that snowball, that same exact snowball, compounds even further and we break this level, right? Because the trend that is the trend, and we just discussed that, continues trending, but just above this level, that then implies that the trend might just simply continue trending back into mid range, back into range highs. Who knows? Maybe we go higher than that. By the way, this is not hindsight analysis. This is all analysis that I was giving at the time. Meanwhile, people are poking fun of me for being bearish at the bottom 2 days before, right? It's totally a loser's mindset. This is what I'm here for, to catch. And this is exactly what happened. It's one position. The bulk, and I sent out a tweet yesterday that said Q1 was euphoric for me. Q1 of 2023, I'm absolutely euphoric. I am on top of the moon, so much to the point where kind of have to stop being so high in the clouds and bring myself back down to earth, because it's almost like being in markets and being a trader has forced myself to take on this very paranoid stance of everything is going amazing, and that must mean that something's going to go terribly wrong soon. And every time that I've had that feeling, that's exactly what has happened, right? So taking that kind of a stance, and being in that kind of position, but this is why I'm in that position, is because I was able to navigate this market beautifully. And being in that euphoric state of mind and navigating this market beautifully does not mean shorting here, longing here, shorting here again, longing here, and then closing that trade, and then shorting here again, and then longing the bottom, and then no, no, no. It was literally 3 actions. I didn't overtrade. I didn't overcomplicate it. All I did was assess whatever the trend was. And the beauty of this market is it just so happened to be that by the time the trend broke, and my second action for the entire year was necessary, right? By the time that that happened, the trend portrayal and the market structure were so damn high above the position where I started to assess these arguments in the first place that it didn't fucking matter whether I sold the top or I sold right here because I'm still winning to extreme extent, right? And then from there, I make this video. Oh, hey, I'm not going to be buying the dip this time around. Here's why. And it goes on to say, well, it's because we lost our trend portrayal, the same thing that made me bullish all the way back at 17K. It's also because the secondary argument to that is market structure, right? Because I only have a three-part system. It's very simple. It's not too far off of little Timmy's one cog analysis, right? It's pretty damn close. So that market structure is also bearish per my interpretation of it. Other people who I'll refrain from saying their names because I don't want to disrespect them. They're amazing traders, but they got it wrong. A lot of people assess this as this is still the higher low. And, we're intended to, or we're implying that we're going to go and form a higher high from here. Right. And, this is the maximum RR, as good as you're going to get kind of thing. And long here with maximum reward with minimal risk. And, if we lose this level, it's lights out kind of thing. I was like, well, I'm already bearish. My system says that I need to not be buying this dip anymore. And if we reclaim strength per my system and all those other people are right and they interpreted market structure correctly, then I just have to adjust, right? I'm forced to shift back into that exact same mindset that I was previously in. And lo and behold, I didn't have to do that. Thank you, market. Right? I'm not a genius. It's not that I'm have this crystal ball and knew that this is going to break down and continue trending lower. It's just my system. It's just my analysis. It's my three cogs turning. That's it. And that alone allowed me to not be the buyer on the way down. And it's that sort of meme, which I also pointed out well before any of this happened, is like, you guys know how this works. Everyone screams, "Oh, I want to buy the dip, but it won't dip. I want to buy the dip, but it won't dip. I want to buy the dip." And then finally, everyone gets their chance to buy the dip, but it's not a dip anymore. It's a downtrend. And it's like, okay, well, that's why you're getting the chance to buy the dip. Suddenly, right, the same people who are buying the dip and leveraging the house the entire way up and getting rewarded because of the market environment, those same people are not getting rewarded anymore because it's not a dip anymore. It's a downtrend. You failed to adapt. And those same people who are on the inverse side, who weren't winning and trying to, oh, this is a bear div. Oh, look, another bear div. Oh, look, we're overextended on the 3 hour, right? RSI. Oh, look, the 48 moving averages, just broke. Those same people who have been getting it wrong for the entire way up, they finally decide to flip sides, right? But the market is now against them once again. You just can't find yourself on that wave. You're just constantly ebbing when the market is flowing, and you're flowing when the market is trying to ebb, right? It doesn't make sense. So this is how I'm able to find myself in a winning mindset. And then from here, truthfully, this is where I like to say that opportunity is abundant and luck is a byproduct of putting yourself in a position where opportunity may find you, right? That's my honest belief. And I think that this exact positioning right here is where, that really shines true. Because I didn't buy Bitcoin at the exact bottom based on TA. My TA, my system, is still just as bearish here as it was since this 4 hour candle, right? It's just as bearish. Nothing changed. If anything, this region is a better sort of entry zone than here. Because when my system loses this region with the 200 daily EMA as support confluence, right? We're testing support, we're downtrending into support. So I'm still not buying the dip, but that's a better argument because we're testing a higher time frame, more significant support level with 200 daily EMA confluence. And it's like that range high kind of, macro support being retested. Whereas when we fall through and fail to hold that support, my system says All right, let's just look for mid range and let's look for range lows, right? The 200 daily MA is confluent with mid range at this point, but I wasn't even willing to buy the range high retest with the 200 daily EMA, right? So I'm not willing to buy a more significant support level with a random blue line. Why would I be willing to buy the mid range, right? 50% of my bearish analysis playing out with the green line confluence? Doesn't make sense. Why would I ever do that? The answer is I wouldn't, right? But the caveat to that was fundamentally, it made sense. Fundamentally, it made sense. Total fluke, but this is the edge that I gave myself. This is the opportunity that I allowed myself by consistently being affiliated with crypto in general. And this is the one time in the past 3 years where it benefited me to not just be a crypto trader, but to also be a crypto participant, right? A crypto native. I knew as soon as stablecoins start to depeg and banks go on bank runs, the one thing that is meant to literally account for this exact kind of scenario is Bitcoin. And I put out a tweet that said something along the lines of, my system is bearish, but I have never, ever in my entire life been this bullish fundamentally on Bitcoin. The market forced my hand into buying the bottom. I didn't willingly, oh, this looks like a great place to enter and blah, blah, blah. All of the same system that had me bearish since here has me still bearish here. The caveat to that, right, is fundamentally it makes sense. Fundamentally bullish, TA bearish, right? But suddenly the TA starts to agree. On a small scale, something like the hourly 200 moving averages, which are doing this, get reclaimed. That's a snowball. The 4 hour 200s get reclaimed, right? And doesn't really look like very much of a reclaim, but that is a reclaim. It didn't break out, pull back, retest, ideal butterflies, textbook dandelions, and rainbows. It didn't do that, but that is a reclaim. Absolutely, you have to acknowledge that, right? And uh, take solace in the fact that we may not give you an ideal sort of dandelions and rainbows and butterflies pullback, right? So that you can re-enter on a retest and position for the next leg upwards and continuation of trend. You might not get that. So the snowball compounds, right? The system starts to agree with the fundamentals. Wow, it's incredible how that works, right? It's almost as if you're just taking a little Timmy kind of approach, it doesn't matter whether you tell me, oh, Bitcoin is bullish because this is what it was created for, stablecoin depegs, being your own sort of self custodian for your own finances, that kind of thing, bank runs, or global liquidity injections, or there's a kangaroo that just had triplets somewhere in Australia and somehow that's bullish to you. I don't give a shit what your argument is. It's all true. It's all true. It's all right. Why? Because even little Timmy fucking knows that this is headed to the top right corner at some point on some kind of a scale. Hopefully on a small scale and acknowledging it to that scale, hopefully to a greater scale once those 4 hour 200s are broken and reclaimed and the daily market structure is also broken. And then hopefully he's not in denial of the trend by the time that we continue trending for all of this price action. So it goes back to, right, that point of there are only three real actions that are necessary since the start of the year to wrap up the first quarter. That's one action a month, right? I mean, it's like you didn't really have to do much. And I know that it's hindsight, but the goal needs to be, right, putting yourself in a position so that you can take solace and take comfort in whatever happens next. Because at that point, regardless of whatever happens next, you're going to be just fine. So it's, and I put out a tweet earlier today, and I know that I'm referencing a lot of my Twitter. I imagine that most of you guys that follow me on here follow me on there too. But put out a tweet something along the lines of today, Right now, Bitcoin is just trading in a range. And again, little Timmy knows that too. On a higher time frame, I would hope that little Timmy understands we're still bullish, right? We're at a major resistance level and we're consolidating right beneath that major resistance level. Consolidating in the form of a range, right? If I'm the idiot that is bullish at the range high resistance of a weekly resistance level, right? A weekly supply zone, and a micro kind of range high, if I end up being the idiot that's bullish at this level, it doesn't fucking matter. It does not matter because the same way that I engineer into this mindset is the same way that I reverse engineer out of this mindset and start to attribute more significant bearish arguments. And at that point, I do not care if you tell me that the market is going down because of your terrible macro or because of whatever the Fed is doing or because of something that Jerome Powell said or because there's a kangaroo that just had triplets somewhere in Australia and somehow that's bearish to you. I will eventually find myself on the exact same wavelength as the market, at least on a small scale, and then per my discretion, per my system that I have cultivated in a simple way for the past few years. I will use that and find myself ebbing and flowing with whatever the market does. When you reach that kind of like a state of mind, you stop putting an emphasis on whatever the market does and you take comfort in knowing that your success lies in your hands and your hands alone, regardless of whatever the market does. That's the reason you're here to trade, believe it or not, right? You are here to put your success in your hands, learn, and then extract value using the market as a tool. I really don't focus on a counterparty. I don't care who's on the other side of my trade. It's just I understand this thing, right? I understand how this works. I understand those three cogs very, very exceptionally well. Let me use that understanding and apply it to this tool, right? And utilize this tool to extract value and give myself value and, right, better other aspects of my life because I have more money. That's what you're here for. When you have that state of mind, you do find yourself in a more comfortable state. You stop kind of worrying about, oh, I'm at my son's baseball game and I have to check TradingView, what price is Bitcoin at every 5 minutes. And suddenly, and ironically, when you lose that sort of obsessive mind state of like being reliant on whatever the market does obsessively, right? Suddenly you actually become more profitable. And it truly is amazing to me how our human brains, when we do obsess over something, we tend to push it away further. And believe me, any I think literally 100% of my viewers are males. At least that's what YouTube told me. So I would imagine that you guys know what I'm saying. When you were in high school and you like were obsessing over this girl and crushing on her super hard, and that actually pushed her away because you were a simp, right? At least that's what they call it today. But yeah, I mean, you know exactly what I mean, right? That girl didn't really like you because you just liked her too much. But the dude who was a total loser and had nothing going for him, and was drinking and doing drugs at the age of like 16, and total dick, right? That guy, she loved him. She wanted that dude. He didn't care, right? He's like worried about 10 different girls. You're only focused on one obsessively. Maybe that's just me reflecting my high school experience onto you guys, but it's just a sort of thing to think about. And the reason that I tend to relate back to real life in markets is because it truly is like the greatest reflection, and everything that you apply to real life in terms of philosophy does go hand in hand with markets as well. So this is kind of an odd video for me. It's not really, there's no basis behind this video. I don't even know what I'm going to title it. It's maybe just an excuse for me to announce a giveaway winner. which congratulations to, let me not screw this up. The first two numbers are 59, and the last three numbers are 305. So if you are on my Bybit referral link and you participated in that giveaway, and you know that you participated in that giveaway, go check and see what is your user ID on Bybit. Are you eligible to win the giveaway? And then, if that's the numbers that you have, then you may be the winner. So contact me either through, Twitter, just comment on this YouTube video, Discord DMs, whatever. Uh, Reach out to me in some way, shape, or form in the next 48 hours. If you don't see this and nobody reaches out to me in the next 48 hours and it's not the true winner, then I will then tweet it. And then hopefully when I tweet it out, you'll see it then. I'll give you another 48 hours. If you don't contact me by then I'm going to pick a different winner. So hopefully you see this video and you reach out to me in some way, shape, or form on some medium. And then, yeah, I don't have to tweet it and make my timeline a little bit more clunky than it already is. So, yeah, I know that there hasn't been a ton of analysis through my Twitter, but again, it's probably because there's really not too much action that's necessary at the moment. I did kind of forecast this that, similar to 2019, the thing that would ruin a lot of people is over trading. That is, in fact, the thing that handicapped my gains. I did do very well for myself in 2019, but I did handicap a lot of my gains. I should have, right, made more than what I did in 2019, and that was a result of over trading. So at that time, I was BTC margined. Everything that I was doing was purely just BTC margin account, using BTC as collateral, trying to trade for more BTC. I don't even think Bybit at the time had anything other than BTC perps. I think they maybe had BTC and ETH perps, and that was it, or inverse perps, excuse me. I believe that's it. And then eventually they added Litecoin and XRP, and I believe EOS, and then so on and so forth. And Bybit is what it is today. I've been using Bybit since 2019. Absolutely love Bybit. Haven't stopped using them since. And yeah, so to anyone that is interested in signing up to Bybit, I do giveaways every single month. I don't know what it's going to be this month. I will find out, what I'm looking to do. Maybe I'll just do like $500, or maybe I'll give away another PS5 or something. I'm not really sure. I haven't really thought about it too hard yet. It's literally the 1st of April today. But to anybody who is interested or in supporting me in any way, shape, or form, or if you want to be eligible for future giveaways, man, I cannot talk. Just sign up to my Bybit referral link, deposit $100, and take at least one trade. If you do all three of those things, you are eligible for any future giveaways that I do, as well as you help me. So I really do appreciate it. If you find value in my tweets, or you want to support me, or if you find value in these YouTube videos, then you really do help me a lot, and I truly appreciate it. Thank you so much, guys, for listening to me ramble. I'm sorry for the very odd video. Congrats again to that Bybit winner. If you want to check your user ID, I will put the first two numbers and the last three numbers with a bunch of stars in the middle, so nobody knows exactly who you are, but you can figure out who you are in the description. And then hopefully you reach out to me sometime in the next 2 days. And if not, I will tweet it out publicly, and hopefully you see it there. So thank you guys so much. I very much appreciate all of you guys. Much love. Take care and take it easy.